In a visit to the U.S.-Mexico border yesterday, Donald Trump's pick for border czar, Tom Homan, said the incoming Trump administration is already planning on how to implement mass deportations. Quote, "We're not waiting until January to secure this nation at the highest levels this nation has ever seen." So what does that planning actually look like? Joining us now is one of the journalists who has been inside these detention camps at the border, Pulitzer Prize-winning founder of Futuro Media, anchor and executive producer of Latino USA, and MSNBC political analyst Maria Hinojosa. All right, so tell us where you were and what you saw.
So I went, Katie, to a place called Raymondville, Texas, that's just about near the border, the U.S.-Mexico border in South Texas. And I was there in the year 2011. And we were reporting on basically what happened after George W. Bush, after 9/11, decided to do essentially this mass roundup of people. It went very quickly from 2004 to 2005, 2006. And so we were reporting on what the ramp up looked like. And it was pretty horrific in terms of human terms. Basically throwing up circus tents, no heating, no hot water, bunk beds, 2 or 3 above each other, no windows. In fact, you were not allowed to look out a window. And that's where we uncovered in 2011 persistent psychological, physical, and sexual abuse in those detention facilities. When they talk about camps, whether or not we're going to be allowed to see those camps will be one thing. But what we do know is that the abuse that I was reporting about back in 2011 has only increased.
Are these the same camps that the Trump administration would be using?
It's hard to tell, right? This was a different time period, but if they go to what has been done, there's a possibility that that's what it would look like. And if you think about some of the makeshift camps that have been set up already in places like Red Hook in New York City, they are very similar. Unfortunately, these are not places where human beings should be for a long period of time. And if there was a real understanding of how to manage people, many of these people actually have family members that would like to have them and welcome them. But there's this whole holding situation that really ends up just giving more profits to the private prison industry, which will end up running many of these detention camps.
So part of what the Trump administration will say is that this will be deterrence. If you walk across the border and they put you into a detention camp instead of allowing you to claim asylum and to then go forth within the country, that the message will quickly be sent to those who are going to try to cross the border after them that they can't do that. Functionally, does that happen?
What we have to understand, and actually you can look at what the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, said, really schooling Donald Trump today on the issue of terrorists and migration, which is you cannot solve this problem by, for example, pulling the army out or building walls like this. That wall that you're showing right there, Katie, there are holes underneath that wall. There are, where I was on the southern border with, in the Tucson sector, 21 miles of wall, Katie, with 19 openings as large as for cattle to come through, openings underneath. So the message that's being sent to many of the people who are coming is, we want you, we don't want you. Come, but don't come. The problem is you have to have a global solution. Not everybody wants to come to the United States. Let me tell you that. People who are coming now, it's because they are desperate, they are refugees, and others because they know that there are jobs waiting for them right here in the United States.
So how do you actually fix this issue? Because there's a sentiment among Americans, ones that voted for Donald Trump, that the immigration in this country, the levels are too high. They're coming in too fast. It's not orderly. There isn't a system for it. There were a lot of people who said, Latinos as well, who voted for Donald Trump, who said, I don't like the free giveaways for the people who are coming over the border. I'm working every day. I'm struggling to make ends meet. I don't like that these folks are getting hotel rooms, they're getting food vouchers, they're getting free clothes. They seem to be getting it easier when the rest of us are struggling. So what do you do to address this problem here at home? Because it is a real political and issue among a lot of Americans who don't like it.
Understood. But you know what you do is you actually base the conversation in fact, right? We know that if the crime that immigrants are bringing was so out of control, Katie, we don't have an immigration problem. We have a crime problem. And the United States of America, as per the data of the FBI and the Department of Justice, does not have a crime problem. So when you're visibly saying, but Americans are worried about this, I understand that. But if they open their eyes, what exactly are they worried about? Because
well, it's not
I'm
just
in Connecticut.
it's not just crime. I mean, it's not just people who are upset or worried or feel unsafe.
Okay.
There are
On the
people
question-
who just don't think it's fair and don't like it.
Well, the question of fair, here's the situation, Katie. When you have when you have somebody who's applying for refugee status, it's a very different situation than when you are coming in undocumented. But whatever it is, that is a real question. And I've heard it on the ground, Katie. So you're right. Some people are saying, well, why did they get to come in and get to stay at the Roosevelt Hotel? By the way, nobody comes to the United States expecting a handout. No one. It's very important that people realize that. They're not, and because I've been there, right? I've been on the caravans. I've been at the border. People are not like, oh my God, I'm coming because I'm going to go get a hotel room at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
Understanding though, that if we had a more thorough conversation about the fact that immigration has been part of our country's history since forever, since the time that you and I have been journalists, Katie, people have been saying the sky is falling down and everything that's happening that's wrong with the United States and the economy is because of immigrants. And we know that the economy goes through booms and busts. It's not because of immigrants. So how do we solve it? Huge, especially when you have 30 seconds left to talk. It's hard to say that, but a broader conversation based in fact, where people can actually open their eyes and say, okay, so most of the immigrants that I see around me are actually all of them, more than likely, are not doing anything but contributing and working to make this country and themselves better.
All right, Maria Hinojosa, thank you so much. And you're right, we need longer than an extra 30 seconds to tackle an issue like this. Appreciate your time.